Welcome to our Westgate at Crane Talent Discovery webinar series. As many of you are aware, we are in the middle of a talent pipeline challenge. Technology is advancing and advanced curriculums are being developed for the future efforts, especially in the defense area. We at Westgate at Crane want to be on the forefront of driving this effort and help support the national defense sector. One of the ways that we are taking a course of action on this is by helping to produce and host a webinar series that is specifically targeted for defense companies that are within the Uplands region of Indiana. Several of these are national and international companies, so their presence and reputation supersedes them. The goal is to bring awareness of these companies to you, to allow you to see what type of interesting work is being done, what type of environment you could be working within, and why you would want to be an employee for this company. Today, we are fortunate to have several representatives from CACI International to help convince you why you should consider them as your future employer. If you haven't heard of CACI, they are a $6.2 billion company whose mission, enterprise technology, and expertise play a vital role in our national security by safeguarding our troops and enabling our government to deliver cost-effective and high-quality support for all Americans. During this webinar, we ask that you keep your microphones muted at all times. It is completely up to you whether you'd like to have your webcam on or not. Please ask questions via the chat button and we will monitor directly after the presentation. This presentation will be recorded and a copy of the slides will be sent to all that have been registered. I would now like to introduce to you to Brian Harris. He's the Executive Director, NSIS Talent Acquisition for CACI International.
Great. Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you, Samantha, and thank you to the Purdue Research Foundation. My name is Brian Harris. I lead our, I lead our talent acquisition team for our CACI's National Security and Innovative Solutions sector. Today, I'm joined here at our Reston, Virginia headquarters by our NSIS Sector President, Todd Probert, NSIS Talent Acquisition Director, Jessica Elkins, and then we are joined virtually with our teammate, Vice President out of Crane, Indiana, Kirk Talbot. So for today's agenda, we're going to start off with a video. The video really just gives you a good feel of the impact that you can make here at CACI as a career, also in support of national security. Todd, our keynote speaker today and proud alumni of Purdue, is going to walk through our organization and his career journey. Then Kirk's going to take over, talk about CACI and Crane and our Naval Surface Warfare Center mission. And then Jessica is going to talk with you about our career opportunities at CACI with a very particular focus on internships. So we hope to have some time at the end for Q&A. Feel welcome to put that through the chat. Samantha and the team are going to be facilitating that for us at the end. So we'll go ahead and jump right in.
Finding a career that positively impacts your life and the lives of those around you is hard to come by. When you join CACI, it's not your typical 9-to-5 job.
There's a sense of vision in all that we do. We are committed to protecting our nation, the solutions we provide, and the innovative technology we pioneered for our customers to help keep our warfighters, first responders, and country safe. We weave our individual experiences and expertise to impact digital, C4ISR, cyber, space, engineering, and IT transformation.
What do our people say they enjoy most about building a career with us? It can be summarized in one word: impact.
The impact we each have on national security by building indispensable applications that secure our networks and institutions, or curating new laser technology for our next space mission.
The impact our company culture intrinsically plays on our individual happiness, such as the flexibility to prioritize our families, or getting out of the office with our coworkers to play a friendly game of kickball.
The inspiring impact of philanthropic efforts our colleagues initiate, like volunteering at the Ronald McDonald House or placing wreaths across America at Arlington National Cemetery.
And the impact our careers have on personal and professional development, allowing us to turn our longtime passions for technology into a reality. while having the opportunities, support, and resources to excel along our unique career paths.
We invite you to join a community that has both you and Americans' best interests at heart.
A company that makes you feel heard, seen, and values its people who want to challenge the status quo and make a positive impact on the world around them. A company that invests in you and your long-term career through on-demand learning academies, virtual courses, leadership development programs, and technical certificate reimbursements. Join us
On a mission to deliver technical superiority via air, ground, sea, space, and cyber domains in protection of our beautiful country and creating a safer future for the next generation. Stop working and start making it. We're ready for you.
All right. Well, next up, I'm pleased to introduce Todd Probert. Todd is a Purdue alum. He graduated with a master's in science with Aeronautical and Astronautical Engineering and was named by Purdue as the Aerospace Engineer of the Year in 2017. So over to you, sir.
Hey, so thanks, Brian. And Samantha, really appreciate the opportunity to kind of pathfind your new format here in the community at Crane. As the chart says, I'm a Purdue alum, but I thought I'd share my journey with you and how I arrived at CACI, because really what I want to get you kind of acclimated to is why CACI is a different company and a very focused company in the area of mission technology. But I graduated a long time ago. I came to Purdue from the University of Michigan, where I got an aerospace engineering degree. And the interesting dynamic or dichotomy between Michigan and Purdue, Michigan was very much theory-based. And for those of you that have gone through Purdue engineering, Purdue is very much applied applications and applied engineering. And for me, what that meant was I spent a lot of time at Michigan having a lot of fun because I was a pretty quick study, could pick up theory and drive it, through my tests and whatever, got good grades. But when I got to Purdue, I actually had to work. And I remember in the astronautics classes, Professor Howell, there I'd go and I'd buy literally a new ream of notebook paper every week to finish my my homework for that week. So I learned how to really work, and actually it's tongue in cheek, but Purdue really prepared me very well for the career that I embarked upon, which was taking that theory and applying it to real world problems. And I've had a fantastic career because of that. I started out, went to a small not-for-profit called Answer, but jumped into the world of intelligence and worked for the then Strategic Defense Initiative Office, where I was doing essentially intel analysis, but for the Soviet Union had broken up and the Soviet weapons were being proliferated literally around the world. So I was chasing Soviet technology, analyzing it and trying to understand what the implications might be. At the time, the Scuds were a big threat coming out of then Iran and working through that. But ended up running a series of collection programs, culminating in a series of 3 satellites that I was first the mission director for, and then because the chief scientist quit on us, the chief scientist as well. But had a fantastic run of taking pictures of all sorts of crazy things and learning a lot about collections. From that job, I did that for about 10 years. I came to a crossroads, was heavily recruited by the CIA to come in and do missile analytics for the CIA. And at the same time, a company called Honeywell, where they were looking to put together a commercial space program. And I chose the commercial space program path to where I went into Honeywell, helped build a commercial infrastructure that essentially was partnered with a venture capitalist to build a collection program that was going to sell imagery into the U.S. government. Unfortunately, that company went bankrupt, and I was in a interesting position of deploying a lot of Honeywell capital without a revenue stream to kind of backstop it. So had to pivot, and the architecture we put in place, I first sold into the to the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Association. That's a mouthful. Where they were doing, they do all the weather satellites that are up there, and then ultimately pivoted and sold that architecture into NASA. And that gave me the opportunity to run NASA's biggest communications program, to where I had ground systems around the world where we were talking to satellites to to the International Space Station. We were doing the shuttle launch operations, and we were flying the TDRS constellation of communication systems. And that was a very rewarding program, and kind of prepared me for really where I'm at now. But from that, I went into a business development role at Honeywell, and then came to a crossroads. And Honeywell at the time had a best athlete philosophy, and they had taken me out of, hey, you're doing great, Todd. You've grown your business. You've proven yourself. We'd like to show you to some of the other programs and the other options within Honeywell from a career path standpoint. And they literally had me interview to be the head of the Fram oil filter division of Honeywell. So literally car oil filters. And I came to them and said, all right, that's interesting, but you don't understand. I've worked for NASA. I've worked for the DoD. I've worked for the intelligence community. There's a very big sense of mission in everything that I've been doing. And if you've ever seen the amount of money and thought that NASA spends on making its employees sticky to NASA, making every one of the NASA employees part of something that's bigger than themselves, you'd understand. That's kind of how I was taught. That's where I came from. That was in my DNA. Long story short, I did not take that Fram oil filter job and ended up moving to a company called Raytheon. And at the time, Raytheon brought me into a portfolio role. I was running a number of satellite programs, doing imagery collection for the National Reconnaissance Organization. Very rewarding. From that, within Raytheon, ended up going on to run an engineering organization, and ultimately ran a 10,000 person engineering organization. That was a fantastic run at the time. And with Raytheon and with our customers, helped our customers transform how they did software and how they did software programs, to where when I ended up Raytheon, I was kind of a known commodity in the government space doing software. And companies like Raytheon really are geared to sell missiles and sell radars and not necessarily sell software. So that's how I ended up at CACI. And CACI has afforded me a great opportunity to take all of the various experiences that I've had in my career, and the training that I had at Michigan and the training that I had at Purdue, and take it into a new domain. So let's go to the CACI slide. You know, the video said CACI is all about mission, and I'm going to come back to mission a number of times, but CACI is a 60-year-old company, started with a Navy software program, you know, way back when, but has spent the last 60 years really honing its capabilities. We see ourselves in the area of enterprise, which is supporting the federal government. So we've got a lot of programs that do financial systems and HR systems and cloud management on our enterprise side of the business. What that's allowed us to do, and you'll see there's a theme in terms of my career as well, that allowed us to become early adopters of modern software principles and practices that put us on a path of buying a number of technical companies that put us into the mission space. So I really don't want to spend a whole lot of time on here. 60-year-old company, 22,000 employees around the world, about $7 billion of total revenue. NSIS, which is the organization I lead, is about 40% of the company, so roughly $3 billion a year when you look at it. We are the technical side of CACI, and we're made up of 22 different acquisitions that the company's done over the past 5 to 10 years. Best-in-class acquisitions. You may have heard of the AT&T Bell Labs organization. This is really the world-class think tank that's been out there that AT&T put in place. And then when the big telecoms were broken up, AT&T had to move that labs to different organizations. That Bell Labs organization has been doing, or the Bell Labs organization that that we picked up has been doing some of the hardest science and technology development activities for the likes of NASA and the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, to the CIA, to the DoD, to the meatballs that you see there on the metrics there. We've picked up 22 companies that literally look like that. My organization today is fundamentally a development organization, meaning we go in and we help build new technology. The job that I was brought on to do is to take that technology and figure out how to scale it into DoD or bigger programs of record. So you can see there our average program size is about $10 million a year. My goal is to take that $10 million a year of those average program size and find $100 million or $200 million a year programs to move into. So science and technology that we've built, and let's go to the next chart, for various development entities within the government. So you see here on the hardware side, video talked about it a little bit. We're leading the path. We're the largest provider of optical communications inside of the United States. So you can see that communications line there. We're helping the new Space Development Agency build what they're calling a proliferated LEO constellation of capability to allow the DoD and other U.S. entities to have assured communication in the new world order. You can see up there on the top, we're the world's leading provider of signals intelligence and EW. That goes hand in hand with the communications. It goes hand in hand with the world problems. If you think, even in your lives, if you're a 18 or 19-year-old, the pace of technology to the consumer is changing at an exponential pace. So what happened in a war 50 years ago, it was only, the military and the high end of the military, very few numbers of them that had radios that can communicate on the battlefield. In contrast to what's happening in Ukraine today, literally every one of those Russian soldiers is carrying a cell phone, and tracking those cell phones and understanding what's going on is a big deal. On the right-hand side of the chart, you can see a number of software programs, but my skills and when I've actually applied my engineering over the years, the actual work on a piece of hardware has been somewhat few and far between, but I've spent a lot of time building orbit analysis packages, sensing packages, collection packages within software. Software is really one of our superpowers that brings everything together. It's great to have the hardware on the left-hand side, but if you can't make some sense out of the hardware, then you really provide no value. So everything on the right-hand side is taking that sensing, making sense of it, and then putting it into action. And we are in the middle of, for example, the Air Force intelligence packages. You guys have seen the Predator drones or the Global Hawks that are out there. They're all taking imagery and EW, electronic warfare type of information. We bring that into a single command and control node, and we process that imagery, and then we allow the Air Force to do something with that imagery or do something with that information. We also help them put that into operations. So we have any number of common operating pictures that allow you to understand what's going on the battle space, understand blue force, so the good guys, understand red force, the bad guys, and making some sense out of that. And then engineering services, that's where what we're doing at Crane comes together, and Kirk's going to kind of give you the details on that. But in addition to the technology aspects that we're developing kind of individually and selling into the customer, a huge part of my portfolio is what we call engineering services, where we're sitting shoulder to shoulder with our government counterparts and augmenting the government staff to do hard things. And in many cases, you see on the left-hand side there's a picture of a naval carrier. We are one of 3 naval architecture firms within the United States, helping the Navy build the new class of ships, the new class of submarines, and the systems that go within it. That's one of the areas that we play at in Crane. But then we get into more nuanced type of applications to where we're building collection systems, we're building exploitation systems, we're sitting in labs within the government, helping evaluate what's needed on the battlefield and deploy that going into whatever the next years or the next war that might come about. So with that, I'm going to introduce Kirk Talbot. Kirk actually is where the rubber meets the road. At my level, I unfortunately don't get to do a whole lot of engineering these days, but Kirk runs my portfolio in Indiana, and you know, he has the great fortune of being a businessman first, but he gets to get his hands dirty and actually play with the technology and work with the customers and making good things happen. So Kirk, hopefully I did you proud, or at least didn't embarrass CACI too much, and I'll hand it over to you to tell the folks what we're doing there at Crane.
Thank you, Todd. Greatly appreciate it. And as always, I hate to follow you in any briefing session, but no, I appreciate that. I would echo a thank you to Samantha as well. So, you know, many of you may know a lot about Crane. Others on this call may not. So I'm going to give you some quick facts about Crane, and I'm not going to hit on all these bullet points, but ultimately, this slide showcases a broad area of technical capabilities or technical areas where the Warfare Center is, you know, will be looking for support, where CACI comes in to support. We actually, these are 3 divisions which make up the Warfare Center. In every one of these divisions, these are 3 departments, and every one of these departments are 6 divisions. So this is just a light smattering of technical areas where the Warfare Center is often looking for support. NSWC Crane's made up of roughly 3,800 employees, and what's relevant to us with that number is around 65% of those employees are scientists and engineers. And so that resonates with CACI because that's exactly the workforce they're looking for us to bring to them to support these various technical areas. Crane has about $3 billion of yearly economic impact. And being a Warfare Center, for those that don't know or don't fully understand the Warfare Center, their growth is very minimal. So as a Warfare Center, they can't grow in government work years very often. A lot of times they just maintain to attrition. And so they look to the Westgate Tech Park, companies like CACI and others to fulfill these areas to support them with technical capabilities. And so as you can see, like I stated, there's a broad area of you know, different technical areas that we support, and CACI is in every one of these departments today, supporting in one capacity or another. Next slide. So, you know, not a lot on this slide, but really what I want to showcase is that CACI has been here at Crane for the last 20 years, providing engineering and logistics support. We've seen a significant growth at NSWC Crane, and Crane has actually targeted the Westgate vendors, more than just CACI, but Westgate in general, to say we need more help. And every division across all the departments have been briefing the need for the tech park to bring technical expertise to support NSWC Crane. So CACI expects to grow by around 50 new hires over the next 24 months, and in 3 to 5 interns yearly. Every summer, we intend to be proactive on bringing interns on board and starting to teach them about the areas that we are working in. On the right side, you'll see the position types. On the left side, really what CACI is doing today, we're doing a lot of systems development, mechanical and electrical engineering, systems integration. We have a large portfolio or footprint here doing counter unmanned sensor and system engineering and integration to support ship and multiple site protection events. We do tech data package, which is just really when you design and develop a product, it's the drawing package that you can remanufacture that product from. You know, a level 3 package that says, hey, you know, we developed this for the government, it can be repeatable. Obviously, our cyber footprint here has grown significantly. In the last year, we have grown by around 17 FTEs. And in areas like cyber analysts for hypersonics, And we have the pulse on a lot of the new hypersonic work coming out of Crane, microelectronic work coming out of Crane, and future high altitude workload where we're targeted to grow in over the next couple of years. And I think that sums it up. Thank you.
Thanks, Kurt.
Kurt. Yep,
Mhm.
thanks, Kurt. So over to me, my name is Jessica Elkins, short for Jess. Everyone likes to drop the AKA, no pun intended.
Jessica short for Jess.
Jess, short for Jessica. I am a recruiting director here at National Security. I support Brian Harris and the infamous Todd Probert over here, and I do support Kirk and aligned with his group. We are engineering support and solutions. We're known as ES2 for short because it's a lot to say in one setting. I have a team of 10 recruiters, and our portfolio is about $1.4 billion within NSIS. And our group is the largest engineering department at CACI, and we have about 4,300 employees, I think, in our group. So pictured here, this is some fun pictures we took last year. This is on National Intern Day. We celebrate this every year. I believe we have it scheduled for July 28th this year. So we thought it'd be fun to include some pictures, because it's not, if there is some play, not all work, right? Did I say it right? So I do want to spend a little time talking about our intern program here at CACI. We provide our interns real mission-driven work, as Todd alluded to some of the things that we do here. We do offer professional development, career development, and then also social networking activities. And those networking activities do include, obviously, our interns and all other parts of CACI, the employees across the enterprise. Our internships are held during the summer and run for about maybe 10 to 12 weeks. And some of our interns actually do go back to school and support us throughout the year if the work allows them to do that. Last summer, we had over 320 interns at 90 different schools, very impressive. And one of the things that we do here is that every summer, we do make hiring decisions before our interns go back to school. So it's either a returning offer or a full-time offer if they're graduating. We offer seminars that access our CACI virtual university. That university offers training, certifications, and courses that we have throughout CACI. And at the bottom, I do want to highlight, this is our most common majors and our common intern skill sets that we typically hire for. So as Kirk mentioned, we are hiring at Crane. I think I wrote down, he's looking to have 50 new hires. So we do have 3 intern positions that I wanted to highlight today. It is a software engineer, electrical engineer, and mechanical engineer. I think we're sending out the slides. So the blue hyperlinks are direct links to apply, or you can use the QR code here, which is direct access to our careers.caci.com, or you can just type in our website. And that QR code does work. We tested that out. Todd, you want to give it a go and apply?
Sure, sure.
Okay. So I wanted to go through some steps with you all to navigate how to find our intern opportunities from our website. So first, you can go to our main page at caci.com. You can click the careers tab, and then at the careers dropdown, click early careers and internships. And then you can scroll down to either internships or early career opportunities, because we do have those broken out.
And I would just add for that, periodically you can go throughout the year to see new opportunities that open up. So for the internship season around August or September is when we typically will open the majority of our positions for summer 2024. So Jess is going to walk through the next slide, just kind of how to stay connected with us. But just know that throughout the year, we're consistently opening new positions.
Yes, so as Brian alluded to, some of the things that he's talking about where you will see pop-ups or get those notifications for positions that you're looking for. We do encourage you to set up the job alerts so you can receive job alerts to the email that you've included. And it will send you those interested roles that you've opted into. Also, please join our talent community. It'll be direct access to stay up to date with our latest news with CACI. And then last but not least, personalize your profile. You can actually set up specific job postings as Brian was just talking about. So that way, things that come up in that area that you've listed will pop up and you can go and have a direct link to apply. So please take advantage of these. And then my wrap up slide here. So this slide captures awards we are extremely proud of here at CACI. So it's a quite an extensive list of our industry and our veteran, but I did want to highlight a few that really resonate with us. Under industry, we are the 2023 Top Workplace USA. We're Fortune World's Most Admired Company, ranked 12 times, and we are Forbes' Best Employer for New Grads. Way to go, CACI. And that concludes my slides. I think that will leave us time for some Q&As.
Yeah, does anybody have any questions? They can put them in the chat function, or we can actually, if you want to open up your mic, you can open it up and ask a question. I just want to reiterate the intern program that you showed and the job alerts and that whole job profile. That's amazing. That is something that everyone that is a student or someone that is looking for an engineering software job with you should definitely take advantage of. I don't think that is something that is offered at a lot of companies in that way. And I think, as we have spoken before, something needs to happen within the talent pipeline here, because there just needs to be some disruption. Like Kirk said, there's a lot of new hires that are going to be hired within the next 2 to 3 years, if not 1 year. And we're going to be in trouble if we don't start taking advantage of it and start pushing it forward now. So I don't know if there was any, what about for here's one, what about for high school students? We talked about for college students, or I think a lot of those were for college students, but I think in speaking with Kirk previously, that there was potentially an opportunity for high schools. Am I wrong with that?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So, we certainly are involved with STEM, and we're involved with high schools as well. I would say out of the last couple of summers, out of 300 interns across the entire company nationwide, we'll typically have 5 to 10 high school juniors or seniors that are part of our internship program. It's very specific on the role, the opportunity that we have to be able to support in an internship role. But so we don't have hundreds of openings for high school seniors or juniors, but we do recognize that there's elite talent at high schools as well. And so we are open there.
And the 3 that you had shown, those are college internships, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. Does CACI have a small business partnership program, or another way a small business could get to know how to team with CACI to grow talent in the Crane region?
Yeah, I think reaching out to Kirk directly, because Kirk is driving hard there. I'll say broadly too, Samantha, you kind of hinted on it, but there's a war for talent out there. The Navy's looking to do, the Navy's got a talent challenge as much as companies like CACI or the big OEMs or those that are out there. And places like Crane offer us a different kind of footprint than places like, for example, I'm in the DC area, and the cost of living in the DC area is significant. There's a number of companies in the DC area fighting for that same talent, everything from the big commercial software companies like AWS and Google and Microsoft, to the defense companies, to just the broad broad kind of numbers of companies that are here in DC. Indiana's a better place to live from a cost of living standpoint, has great schools like Purdue. And gee, wouldn't it be nice if we could grow a bigger talent base in places like Crane? The Navy, and literally I was in with Admiral Galinas, who runs all of the Navy ships programs, and we had this specific conversation. The Navy's got an aging workforce. They need fresh talent. They need to go look at creative ways to bring that talent in. And part of those creative ways are looking at dynamic locations like Crane that offer a different quality of life than maybe the greater DC area, particularly for younger folks in the marketplace.
And you do speak of Crane a lot, and there may be some people on here, and I alluded to say, so we are right next to the Westgate at Crane Tech Park, who kind of we're representing, and CACI is within that tech park, is right outside of a Naval Installation Support Center that I believe is the third largest land-based installation base, if I remember correctly. So I think there's anywhere close to 5,000 employees there. There's over 875 employees within the tech park alone. There's 17 buildings, over 60 plus other defense contractors that are within the tech park here. So as you had mentioned, Todd, there is a wide array of I like your word you used, war of talent that is going to be happening soon, that we're going to have to absolutely get onto. So
yeah, and I'll say this further, because I've talked to Governor Holcomb and certainly up and down the Purdue leadership chain. The state of Indiana, the Purdue University are very much friendly for what the Navy and the extended DoD is looking to go do. So I know that the governor and Purdue are both kind of driving to bring more work into the state, and specifically more work into the Naval Surface Warfare Station at Crane.
yes, good. And on that same note too, I just realized too that we talked about over 875 employees. We have a microelectronics campus that is potentially going to be put in within the next couple of years. That's going to potentially have over 500 more jobs. So we're and with your emphasis on hypersonics, that's going to be a large area that people are going to be looking into as well. So, and I agree with Indiana is a great place to be, great place to live. Cost of living is a lot less. I've lived in a couple other larger cities as well, and came back to Indiana. So I truly am a little biased on it, but
Awesome.
we have another question. What opportunities would CACI have specifically for electrical engineering interns that have experience in photonic device fabrication?
Oh my gosh. Photonics is my fastest growing business right now.
Yeah.
So if there's folks that have that particular competency, I am looking to grow. Now, unfortunately, not quite yet at Crane, but I've just opened a factory in Florida. I've got locations in New Jersey and locations in California. All three of those locations we're staffing up significantly. I'm not sure. I know we have internships in New Jersey. I'm not sure if we've pushed that to it. So
there's a couple, but certainly we'd be interested in talking and reviewing your resume, and we can definitely. This is an extended invite for everyone who's joined today. Anybody who'd like to talk about a career opportunity, please make sure you connect with us, and we're happy to reach out one-on-one and have a deeper conversation.
most definitely.
But applying is definitely the first step. So, please apply. It is the first stop so the recruiters can see and go in there to match those skill sets. And it's just the fastest way that we can just really move the needle to get you through to interview and clearances and things of that nature. So, but yes, please reach out to us and apply.
We have another question, kind of a similar question, only specifically for civil engineering drafters. Does CACI have any opportunities?
So I could take that one. I would say absolutely. Even though it doesn't immediately sound like there could be a good fit, we're oftentimes doing ground station site development and stand up for different location protections. And so those skills come in handy, and we have some of that workload today. So I definitely could see a fit there for sure.
Great.
And Samantha, I know that we have opportunities here in the DC area as well as some in Texas.
Okay, great. Great questions, great questions. So it looks like we might be, oh, here we go. We got another question. So similar, people are asking a little bit specific, but that's okay. That's great. They're looking for software engineers, specifically in the DC area, but
They're here,
opportunities for software engineers.
definitely. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, so I would say out of our internship program at CACI, probably 2/3 of the talent comes from computer science, software engineering background. So that is a very hot demand area for us. Multiple programs, multiple opportunities. I think a big thing at CACI that differentiates us and the size that we are is the career mobility path. So when you come in, you have an opportunity to support multiple programs, multiple mission areas. So we are starting to expand that more within our internship program, where you're having an opportunity to support different areas of our business. But 100%, multiple programs and opportunities where software is a need.
Yeah, and I'd add to that quickly that I currently, even though I'm sitting here at Crane, not all the work that I do is at Crane. A large majority of it is, but I've got calls this week for software support. We have a plan to grow our software support to a couple new customers, and they're looking to use some of our software cleared facilities in the DC region. So I expect nothing but growth in that software realm.
Yeah, and just one data point, Jess mentioned us earlier around our getting an offer letter before you return back to school. So last summer, over almost 90% of our interns received an offer to come back with us. And of that, north of 70% are going to be coming back to work with us as a returning intern or as a full-time graduate. So and working for us full-time. So it's a great opportunity for us to get to know you and for you to get to know CACI.
Yep. Someone wants to know about aerospace engineers, and do you take freshmen, rising sophomores for internships?
So we definitely take the sophomores, and in fact, that just guarantees we're freshmen and sophomores because that's a longer road with us. One thing I don't think we even mentioned, that some of our programs actually have the ability to obtain a clearance too. So we can actually take the interns, get them a clearance. It does take several months. And then as far as the aerospace, Brian, I know we definitely have them at our APG group and in this realm. I would see that more with my peers in the other groups, but yes, within Todd's portfolio, we definitely have aerospace engineers.
We're flexible. We're looking for top talent.
Well,
So
yeah.
But aerospace engineering, large footprint in space operations. So that's kind of a lot of my heritage. More and more in aircraft operations, because we're putting a lot of our payloads, the technology you saw, onto airframes and working through that. I guess I want to maybe expand on something Jess said too. So we're a national security company, and with being a national security company, much of the agencies that we work with require security clearance. So that's something that, when I came out of school, I didn't even know what a security clearance was. And immediately, I got vetted in my role as an analyst, but that has over the years taken more and more time. So security clearance, everything from people have heard of secret, top secret, and then there's even above top secret that we work within. The vetting process it's not invasive, but it with everything in the government, it's involved. It takes time. So we're finding for some of those highest clearances that it could take the government over a year to vet an individual, to do the background checks, to do the financial checks, to work through that. And if there's an interest of folks on the phone to work within the national security field, a company that has a process to build a security clearance for you while you're an intern, to use the time that you're still in school to do that vetting, to do those background checks, really makes you a more viable candidate for national security companies when you graduate. That's a key point. That's it's kind of table stakes for the lot of things that we do. On that NSIS chart, I think we've got, I don't know, 70% of our workforce cleared to some level, and as much as 40% cleared to the highest levels within the government. And it just is, but if you are, I mean, if you're an aerospace engineer, that's something that I would get smart on. And then as you look for companies, understand what it might take. Actually, when I was at NASA, I had to carry a DoD security clearance for some of the technologies we're working on. Not that NASA was doing classified work, but the technologies crossed over into DoD type of applications. So it was one of those things that just kind of had to happen, part of being an aerospace engineer and working through the career path. So we sometimes are a little cavalier in talking about security clearances, but as a college student, it's one of those things that we probably need to educate a little bit more on and talk about in forums like this.
What about the 3 internships that you currently have here within the area? Will those be clearance jobs, security clearance jobs?
Yeah, so none of our internships require a clearance. So let's be clear on that. We've got a very good systematic way of putting you to work on meaningful things on day one, but to make you viable and more impactful, getting you into that security process is important to us. So we can kind of, I guess, move you through the ranks and get you ready when you're coming out of school to move on to things. A lot of our internships, we put on things that we call IRAD, internal research and development, to where we use folks in the academic world to come in and help us do basic research, and basic research in many areas does not require security clearance. And then a lot of jobs, for example, at Crane, have a myriad of security requirements, but there's many of them that don't require clearances at all there at Crane as well.
Great. Thank you for clarifying that. So one question, and we kind of talked about this internally a little bit, about we need to help people understand what is the culture like within CACI. Can you describe what the working environment is, and maybe you've kind of gone through some of the interesting work, I think, that you've gone, but what about the physical culture at CACI?
Yeah, it's funny because I've worked at a number of companies over my career, and with various focus. I mentioned Honeywell and the Fram oil filter example, and it's the sense of mission is the one thing that I think, regardless of what you're working on at CACI, maybe it's a Navy program as we're talking about here, maybe it's an intelligence community program, maybe it's an Army program where you're doing HR or financial type of work. The sense of mission, the sense of purpose, I think, is the unifying kind of force across everything we do. And that may sound kind of cavalier, but it is really something that's embedded within how our people come to work. And for me personally, I've got a lot of friends in the DC area, and you can imagine I've got a good friend that's a dentist. I've got a good friend that's a financial analyst. I got a couple of friends that are lawyers, and I feel that what I do affects the greater good more than any of them, right? I mean, and let's pick on the dentist because he makes more money than me, and he's doing great in life and all that. But he comes in and he sticks his hands in people's mouths every day, and he fixes teeth, and it's all good. But on any given day here at CACI, we're helping the nation protect itself, and down to the individual levels, we're saving lives of our soldiers, our sailors, our Marines that are in harm's way. And I can't go through a whole lot of anecdotes, but it is heartening to see the effect that our work does on national security and the greater impact of things. So when I say the sense of mission is an important thing. The sense of mission is really an important thing. And, you know, if I didn't have that in me, I'd be working for, I guess, Fram Oil Filters at this point, selling filters into, you know, Ford trucks, or I don't know what they do. Actually, I said that to Honeywell. I said, but guys, I get up every morning because I have a sense of a bigger or a greater good. And even when I was working for NASA, it was the same. It was the, hey, you're part of a team, and this team is doing impactful things. And, you know, from a NASA standpoint, it was kind of historic things when you look at it from that standpoint. True story, Honeywell came back to me and said, but Todd, you know, in Fram Oil Filters, we sponsor a NASCAR car, and, you know, that there's a sense of mission there. And I guess it's Indiana. You guys are probably big NASCAR fans over there as well. That's cool, but it's not, you know, I went over to Kuwait during the last war over there, when the second war with Iraq, and I sat down with the general, and he heartfelt thanked me for the work that my team was doing over there. And my team was basically doing logistics, you know, making sure that the war fighters could go do their job when they needed to go do their job. But his thanks were, you know, for every war fighter that he was putting on the front line, there was 10 or so contractors behind him that enabled that war fighter to do their job. And, you know, he walked through in each instance of those 10 people, how those folks actually enabled, kept that war fighter safe, you know, helped the mission outcome in a greater sense. And ever since then, it you know, kind of reframed kind of how I look at things. But it's true, we are making a difference on a bigger scale than my friend the dentist, that, you know, that's sticking his hands in people's mouth every day. And now, for those of you that have mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers that are dentists, it's a perfectly noble profession. But I mean, that's what gets me up every day, is that sense of doing stuff for the greater good. And we kind of evolve around that. And it's heartening to see how we do it individually, and then how the company kind of sees that as its reason for being.
Thank you, Todd. I think that's a great point. I think that people who don't know Crane and the Westgate Tech Park here, it's kind of been a secret for quite a long time. I don't think that Crane has told their story, at least the last 5 years. They probably have last 5 years. They've kind of gone on a little road show of telling kind of what they do. But I think the heartfelt story of how it is helping America be where they are, helping save lives, or helping go into situations with the right equipment and the right awareness. I think that's something that part of these webinars is that we want to portray, is that these are companies that are doing this, and this is their mission, and we don't realize it, or we don't have that sense of everyday thinking that they are helping us every single day. So I think that's a great point. Well, I think we've probably come to the conclusion. Like I had mentioned earlier, we will be sending you the recording and a copy of these slides. This was a great presentation. It gave a lot of specific content. The internship was really valuable to know. The job listings, job alerts is very, very valuable. Todd, I thank you, and Brian and your team, and Jessica and Kirk as well. We appreciate you putting this together and kind of telling us a story of who you are. We had someone say thanks to all the folks at CACI for doing this and presenting it. So we appreciate that. Again, if you want to reach out to me or to part of the CACI team, please do so. I encourage you. I know some of the people that have RSVP'd that are students, or people that are looking for specific engineering or software development jobs. Please make sure you check out the area, check out the job listings. Send your resumes, apply, as Jessica had said. So we want to make this area and CACI become more of a vibrant and more known company within this upland region. So I thank you, and I hope that everyone has a great rest of the day.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks,
Thank you,
Samantha.
Samantha.
Appreciate the opportunity, and definitely looking forward to grow there at Crane, and with Purdue as a fantastic partner. So thanks again.
Great. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.